I'm gonna have to put a warning in the beginning of this video. Hi guys, it's Sam, and I am feeling kind of like off today, and I figured that we could just film a little bit of makeup therapy. If you're interested in that, then let's go for it. If you are new to my channel, my name is Sam, and I'm a makeup enthusiast. I do a lot of beauty content, and if you are interested in that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you can come back and see more content like this and plenty of other types of beauty content. I feel terribly off today. I got my girl thing and I just feel exhausted, fatigued, and my kids, I love them. They're smothering me. I cannot get a moment of peace. So I have a big cup of tea in my Mandalorian cup. I have my biscuit here, or I call it a biscuit. It's a Nature's Bakery oatmeal crumble. It's the strawberry ones. I have the apple ones too, but this is what I'm eating right now. Yeah, like my oldest, she's so cute, but she follows me around all the time because she's 5 years older than the younger kids, and I don't have a primer. What is wrong with me? I'm going to use my Touch and Soul Glassy Balm. So she's 5 years older than my younger two, so she doesn't want to chill with them all the time. She does sometimes like play video games and stuff with them or whatever, but a lot of times she hangs out with me. And I'm feeling like I need some me time. She was like following me around the house, following me in my room, like trying to organize my eyeshadow palettes, and she's just touching all of that. I take them out and put them down, and she starts reshuffling my shuffle, and I'm like, girl, if you don't get out of here, I'm gonna kill you. Well, I didn't say that, but I'm like thinking it and I'm trying to hold it in, and I'm like, mommy just needs some time by herself. And I'm making my tea, and she's so bad with the guilt trips. I'm gonna use my Lisa Eldridge foundation. So she literally says to me, okay, that's fine. I'll just go with my real family where I belong, and opens the fucking trash can and fake hops in like this, like a little whale jump. And she goes, because I'm trash. And I'm like, what? Like, come on. That's horrible. Like, don't say that by yourself just to make me like want to friggin' not do anything else. And I'm like, I just need me time. Like, this has been an absolute crazy month. My husband had to travel for the first 2 weeks of November to Poland and Netherlands for work. And usually when he's away, it's pretty uneventful around here. You know, it's just bringing the kids to the school bus in the mornings, picking them up from the bus stop in the afternoons. I work during the day, so I just kind of like coordinate my breaks around the pickup and the drop-offs and all that. And then, you know, as soon as I finish my work day at 4:30, I just start dinner like immediately. That way we kind of get a longer stretch in the evening to like chill before having to do showers and, you know, because it's a busy day anyway, because I have chickens and we have 2 dogs. Like, there's lots of chores to be done, but it's all doable. But oh my goodness, when he went away, the toilet broke. My Uber account was having an issue, so I couldn't get Uber Eats or anything like that. I had a hawk attack my chickens and drop one in the neighbor's driveway in the early morning in between the 2 drop-offs. That day was freaking ridiculous. So I'm going to go on with the KVD concealer in Tan 161. Yeah, like it was literally like the week just had having all these hiccups. One day after school, my little one was rushing out of the after school program to the car, and she fell, hit the corner of her glasses right here. She ended up needing stitches, but she wouldn't stay still for them. So then we just did like the paper stitches, and I had to just be nurse mom, and it was just a shit show. And it was just like one thing after another. The freaking last day, you know, and the whole thing with the missile hitting Poland, happened to be in Poland at the time. And, you know, I'm pretty good with US geography, but I'm not exactly, you know, the world geographer. So I know he's in Poland, but I don't know how close this missile hit versus where he's actually staying. And he's a videographer. So sometimes when you're shooting, they were shooting like a commercial. When you're shooting commercials and stuff like that, sometimes you're staying in one city and you're driving out to other areas for different set dates. So, even when I did kind of look at a map, I was like, well, hope to God his set wasn't too close to there, because at the same point in time, like I said, sometimes they're not always staying, like shooting where they're staying, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I was freaking terrified. I'm gonna have a bite of this. That was super stressful. Then his work offered to take him home early if he didn't feel safe or whatever. And he was like, no, I feel fine. And I'm thinking, are you fucking ridiculous? I want you to come home, because I'm thinking, what if something crazy happens? Then you're going to be in a mad rush trying to get here. It's going to be impossible. You see all that all the time with tourists and refugees and stuff having more difficult times at leaving countries during crazy situations than citizens do. So when the week couldn't get any worse, the second week, the last day, it was like Friday, he was supposed to come home. I'm like, great. I'm going to use this powder right here to set my under eye from the butterfly palette. So yeah, I was like, all right, it's Friday. He's coming home today. So excited. It's been crazy 2 weeks. I want my husband back. I want my partner back. It just makes the mornings and the evenings so much easier when you have a partner to take care of 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a dozen chickens. Well, now less than a dozen chickens, because the hawk has come to visit us a few times. So I'm like, great, he's coming home. I get up at 6 a.m. I take the big one to the bus. She gets on the bus. I come back. The little ones are awake. I'm literally just going a couple houses down. So, the door's locked. The kids are in the house. And I come back. I get the kids ready. They're sitting down, eating their breakfast. They're all dressed. They got their teeth brushed. They got their shoes on. I'm like, I'm winning today, all right? Like, things are going real good. I'm going to try. I just bought this stick from Rare Beauty. It's the Warm Wishes Effortless Bronzer Stick. I got Always Sunny. I wanted to get it forever ago when it was like viral and everything, but the shade was always sold out. So the kids are eating their breakfast. I already packed their snacks for the day in their lunchbox. Pretty orange. Hopefully it doesn't look crazy, but I ain't going nowhere. So I'm doing the dishes, or I'm loading the dishwasher, rinsing the dishes off. And I hear one of the chickens going crazy. And I'm like, what? And it sounds like it's coming from right underneath the window outside the kitchen sink, right from where I'm standing. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, that's not part of the fenced-in area where they're chilling or whatever. This does not look like a good shade for me. So I'm like, there shouldn't be a chicken outside this window. So I'm like, I'm going to go outside really quick, guys. I'm just going to the front of the house. So I go to the front of the house and I look along the side where that kitchen window is. And sure as shit, there's one of the chickens running around. She somehow got to the other side of the fence. But she's like up against the fence, like trying to figure out how to get back into the yard, but she doesn't know. So that's why she's kind of going a little bit crazy. So I'm like, okay. I go in there. I'm like, I'm just going to grab her and throw her over. And if you've ever tried to catch a chicken, it's not an easy task. So it's very stressful. So I'm like, oh, hopefully I can do this, because I got to get the kids to the bus stop in like 20 minutes. So I'm like wrestling around on the ground trying to get her, and I'm crouched all the way down on the ground, and I'm like trying to figure out how I can keep her in this space. There's like a corner of fence like this, and then on this side there's bushes that have now lost all of their leaves and everything that goes to the neighbor's driveway on the other side. So she could literally walk under those bushes, go down the neighbor's driveway, and be gone. So I'm like, how can I keep her in this little corner area where the fence is and grab her to throw her over the fence? So I'm like trying to think about it. And I look to the right. I'm crouched down to the floor. Look over to the right. And there is another chicken in the neighbor's driveway, dead. Feathers everywhere. One of my favorite birds, gone. She's Dunsky. And I'm like, oh my fucking word. It's right like in their driveway in a place where it's like when they get out their side door of their house, which is the door they use the most, it's literally at the bottom of the stairs behind their car. It's like, what the fuck? So I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I'm going to have to still catch this bird first and throw her over, because if I try to clean her like the chicken's going to get out. So I'm like trying to think. So I take the corner of the fence and it's metal and I like bend it so that there's like a little opening, because I'm thinking I'm just going to try to like some way maneuver her into wanting to go into this little part of the fence. But as I do that, my kids decide to let the dogs out the backyard. So the dogs are now in the backyard. They run exactly to the spot in the fence because they hear me there. I'm going to go into this blush shade in the same palette. And they're like, Mom, what's going on? What's going on? And they see this opening in the fence that I've just made. And they're trying to come through. And I'm trying to block them from coming out and at the same time lure the damn bird into that area. And I'm like, this is not going to happen. This is not good. So I go over to the other side of the bushes where the neighbor's driveway is. And there's, that corner of fencing. And I'm standing there trying to figure out what's my next move. And as I'm fucking sitting there, the neighbor comes out to go to work. She fucking comes out. And I'm like, I felt like one of my kids when I walked into their room and they've literally like destroyed the whole place. I felt like a child that was literally caught in the act of doing something like ridiculous. I'm going to go into this highlighter here. So I have this probably ridiculous face on and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to clean that as soon as I get this bird off the other side of the fence. And the wife is like, oh, it's okay. I'm like, clearly, she's just like being incredibly nice to me. So she's like, it's okay. So as I'm talking to her, of course, I'm distracted. So my dogs come out the fence. And I'm like, oh, coconut, freckles. No. So I'm like, okay, I just got to get them back in the house. So I'm like, come on, guys. And they follow me and I go through the front door and I open the front door and I let them in. And I'm like, kids, don't let the dogs out the back. So I come back out and the neighbor, she had already left to work and the husband's still there. And he like is so kind, but he like bends the fence back for me so that no more animals can escape my yard. And then he kind of stands in the corner where the bushes are. So the bird is not going to like cross under there. So I grab her finally and throw her over the fence. And I'm like, thank God that is done. But the job is not over yet because I still got to take care of the dead bird and take the little ones to the bus. So I'm like panicked because I know that I am stressed for time. And I'm like, literally, I look over to the neighbor and I'm like, I am going to pick up that mess as soon as I'm done taking the kids. Because, like, what else am I going to do? It was just, like, one of those things that you just, like, I had to. They're going to either miss the bus, and then my morning's really going to be shit because I still have to log into work by 8 o'clock. This is all before 8 o'clock. So I run in the house and my kids are so cute. Like they're like, mommy's clearly stressed out. So they had their coats on, they had their shoes on, they were all ready to go. And I had already packed their backpacks. So they were like, okay, Mom, let's go. So I was like, okay, let's go to the bus stop. I'm going to take you guys to the bus stop and we're going to use Mr. C3PO. I haven't used this and I'm really, really excited. And so I'm like, okay, I get my jacket because it's freezing outside. But at the same time, I'm like super hot from running around and catching the chicken and all of that. Like I'm sweating, but I know I have to stand on the curb waiting for the bus with the kids and come back. And it's going to be super cold. And when you're sweaty and cold, that's not a good thing, right? So I'm like, okay, let me grab my jacket. I grab my jacket. We're going to go into Companion first. And we head down to the bus stop. And usually the bus driver is there for 8:07. So I usually have, it's a 2-second walk down the street. I have enough time to log in by 8:10 if I have to take the little ones to the bus stop. Usually when my husband's home, he does it so that way, because he kind of doesn't start his day till 9 or whatever. I don't know, in case people are curious. Not typically a person who's late for work, but I had made arrangements with my boss or whatever. I get down to the bus stop and it's just before 8 o'clock. And I'm like, great, we kind of have a few minutes to kind of like relax or whatever. Sometimes he comes early, sometimes he comes late. You just never know. But you kind of have to be there. So we're waiting, and literally within a minute, the bus shows up. The bus is early. I'm like, of course, this would have been the day. If I took 2 seconds longer catching that damn chicken, they would have missed the bus. And I'm thinking, I can't wait till my husband comes home. Please, Jesus, to bring this man back to me. Not only because I love him, but because I need him. It's fucking hard. Like, I don't know how single moms do it. I do not. Like, God bless y'all for having the energy, the time, the organization. Like, holy crap. I mean, granted, if I didn't have the chickens and all that, it would have been easier, but life is what it is. So I get the kids on the bus, and then I run back to my house. I'm like, come in, and I'm like, it's 7:55, and I'm like, I have time. Run down to the basement. We hadn't taken out the winter stuff yet for, as far as like shovels and stuff like that for snow or anything, because we have 1 day of snow, but it like melted the next day. So I'm going to go in next with programming, which is the dark brown. I go to the basement to get the snow shovel, and then I'm like, well, hopefully this can hold the chicken. I don't really know what I'm doing. I haven't had to pick up a dead chicken. My husband usually takes care of that kind of stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get this shovel. And then I come upstairs. I'm like, I'm going to use this dustpan. I grab the dustpan and the shovel, and I go over to the neighbor's driveway. The husband's gone into the house already. Let's make it a halo. I just feel like doing that. I grab the dustpan. I go over to the neighbor's driveway, and I see the bird there. And I'm fucking so sad. This is like my moment of kind of like where I have a second to kind of breathe, because I'm no longer rushing from one place to the next. And I'm like, damn, this is really sad. This bird was like one of my favorites. Her name was Penelope, and she was a blue splashed Marin. So she was white, and she had these beautiful gray feathers in the mix. It almost looked like she was painted, She's really, really pretty bird. And she's one of our newer birds, so she hasn't even laid yet. So I was like, we've invested so much in this bird, and we haven't even got a fucking egg out of her. So I'm like, this jerk. I'm like super upset. And I scoop her onto the damn fucking shovel, and her head's, this is graphic, hanging out. And I'm like, so then I need to like trying to like get her on this shovel properly, all the bits of her. And then I have to go back and rake up the friggin' feathers. And like, I have to go on the other side of the fence, open up the fence, walk her to the backyard, take her into the woods. Like, it's a whole fucking process. And I'm just like, this cannot be happening to me. Not today. But it was happening to me, and I got her all taken care of. I get back in the yard, I close up the fence, all that, and I finally log into work by 8:00. I think it was like 8:07 when I logged in. I'm going to use this shade in the middle. It's called Translator. I feel like this gold shade is like the closest thing to like the real brassiness of his like body or whatever. That was a whole thing. And then of course, it wasn't like the slowest Friday, because it was right before a holiday, so everybody was putting in tickets before the weekend. All right, I'm gonna go in this one here called Golden One. It was an absolute crazy day, all the way up until when he got into the door. He had an insane long trip home, and going through customs when he got to Boston and everything was just a lot. He didn't get home. He left Poland at 7:30 a.m. their time, and they're 6 hours ahead. And by the time he landed and made it to Boston and then did customs and blah, 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 and got home was 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it was a really, really long trip for him. And then to top it off, we had a quinceañera the next day. So it was just like absolute chaos. I'm going to use this Hourglass brow pencil, even though I hate it. And I'll be right back. I hate this product because it's way too creamy. And if I try to take the spoolie and, kind of diffuse it, it will make a mess. So in case you're curious why I dislike this so much, I am going to take Companion, that first shade, and put that under the lower lash line too. So needless to say, I am happy to have my hubby, but I'm also like really exhausted. I feel like sometimes when you are go, 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 and you have a lot of things to do, you have a lot of things to take care of with your kids, with your work, with your pets, with your lifestyle in general, like you tend to not feel the exhaustion. And then when you have that moment of relief and you finally get to sit down, you're like, oh, I'm dead. That's how I feel. I'm going to use this Glam Light Barbie Collection lipstick. What shade is this? It has no sticker. It's the young. I think this is still available on her site. Oh, you know what's interesting too? I am nearly 40 years old. I'm 37 years old. And I just realized this about myself. I was lining my lips and I was just like, why every time I line my lips, it is so annoying and tedious work. And I realized, I don't know if you guys can see, I have like freaking 3 peaks. So this one's clearly up, down. And then this side, I don't know if you can see, goes boop, boop. So I'm like trying to make this a V when it's obviously not. And then it just looks weird and looks off. And I'm like, all of our faces just have all these beautiful little quirks. Sometimes they work with us, sometimes they don't. I love this lipstick. It's like the perfect nude. All right, so this is the final look, and I had a lot of fun playing with all the products that I played with and just kind of relaxing and hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out with me. I really do appreciate your time, and until next time, love you guys. Bye.